Hey everybody, welcome back. It is May 24th, 2024, and I decided to just take my opportunities where I can. So yes, this happened again. I'm going to go ahead and get you guys set up to where you guys can see everything better, and then I will tell you guys what happened and what I'm going to do on today's video. Okay, so I'll be back in a couple seconds. Okay, so I'm going to be doing several things in this video today. Hopefully you guys have a good view. My Devon dish is filled with 91% alcohol, and I have all the stuff here to prep my nail. I know you can see some of the stuff and some of the stuff you can't. Okay, so first, I'm going to go ahead and take my spatula and get the glue off of the inside of here because I have to reattach this nail. So initially it had popped off, but not all the way. And so I was going to show you guys how to remove them when they get loose and put them back on. But then this one just went ahead, and by the time I got my phone set up and my tripod and everything, it actually just went ahead and came off. Okay, so my nails right now, like I said, only my left thumbnail is actually in a good state. I have this going on with like all my nails, and I'm not quite sure why, but hopefully they will grow out and then they'll all be like my left thumbnail. Okay, so I do have another one on my right hand that I feel is loose, and so I'm going to just go ahead and probably address that one also. I think part of it is the weight of the charm, and the other part is the nail is actually loose. And like I said before, I actually wanted these to be like they were press-ons, but at this point, if you've been watching my videos, you guys will probably start saying or be thinking, well, press-ons actually stay on longer than what you're doing, so here's what you're doing wrong. So I'm open to suggestions, but on the other hand, I don't want these things to be stuck on there. And you see the difficulty I'm having right now. I'm dipping the spatula into the alcohol to loosen the glue. Okay, so like I said in my other video, I took the opportunity to go ahead and show you guys how to reattach one on. So I know I've already done this, but like I said, in this one, you're going to see me actually take some off that I feel are loose. And I have too many things to do today in order for me to have to stop and do this. So we're going to go ahead and just address whichever ones I think. And most of them have been on for 2 weeks and have not come loose at all. And I have not had to do this. This is the hardest part right here, is to get the, I don't think you guys can see that, but to get the glue off, because you definitely don't want it to be on there, because you're going to put more back on here. So, yeah, sometimes this is going to be difficult. The more you put underneath here, the easier this actually is, but you don't want to put too much, because I'm pretty sure if by now, if you've been dealing with solid nail glue, then you know that if you put too much, when you push down, the glue oozes onto your fingers and you have to get that off. But I think at some point, from what I'm experiencing, you can kind of put not enough, and then this happens. But my nails grow really fast. I do want to say that. So when I was getting, there's some of it that came off here. I don't think you guys can see that. But I had to get a fill every 2 weeks anyway when I was getting my nails done. And honestly, it would be like the beginning of the third week. But by the beginning of the second week, by about, I'd say Tuesday or Wednesday, it would already be time for me to need a fill. But because it was so expensive, I would just actually wait until the beginning of the third week in order to do that. So the one thing that I can say I like about doing my nails here at my house is that I can decide when I want to do them. And honestly, I would rather do another set and just take all these off. But like I said, literally, I don't even think it's been a full 2 weeks I've had these on here. And I know that I got excited and kept talking about my chocolate nails. And now that I did it, they're just too plain for me, and the colors are a bit too light for me. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to get this off. And if I were to drill this, like I said in my other video that I made, I think yesterday or the day before, if you try to drill this stuff off, you're going to have it flying everywhere. And at that point, I would have to pull out my dust collector, and I don't feel like doing that. And it would take forever. Like, it would take twice as long to get this stuff off. I mean, it's really on here, which makes you think like, wow, why is this not actually sticking that well to my nail if it's so hard to get it off of the back of the nail, right? And I think because I hit it. Okay, so I was shredding papers, and then I was at the point where like you empty it, and I hit barely the top tip of this nail, but kind of like underneath, and then it popped loose. So I thought about it, and I was like, well, this one's been on here, like I said, for 2 weeks. Last week, my left pointy finger had come off, and I thought the right pointy finger was coming off, and I made the mistake of having to force it off. And so in this video, I might go ahead and re-put this left one on here. The right one, I should have left it alone once I got it to stop hurting. I know they say that your nails should not hurt, like when you have these products on there. And I think just a little bit of that solid nail glue had gotten my finger, and I took my drill and very carefully drilled that piece away from my nail, from the right one, the pointy finger, and it stopped hurting and everything was fine. It didn't feel like it was coming loose anymore. And then I just got it in my mind like, no, it does feel loose. You need to go ahead and do something about that. And I was wrong. So I think the right one, I might also have to do that on this video as well too, but we're going to address the finger that I have with the milk bottle on there. Okay, so I got all of it off, and then here is what you're going to see. Okay, and then what I like is that for the most part, there's nothing else in here. And so if you want to take the spatula, what I do is, like I said, because I always tell you guys, you know, whichever way works for you, whatever you're finding is working, especially if you find out that I'm not doing something correctly anyway, and you find a way to do it, or a better way to do it, if it's not necessarily a correct way to do some of this stuff, then, I mean, by all means, do it, because you may not like the fact that this is probably going to happen once a week for some of the nails. And like I said, out of all fairness, I did end up hitting it. It wasn't like it just came loose and popped off on its own. Okay, so I am going to actually etch the inside of this one. Okay, I did etch them when I first put them on, so that I didn't have to paint the Triple X Bond, which is the primer from Not Polish, inside of the nail. And when I put some of them back on, I didn't, but this one never came off. And then I always forget something. So what I'm looking for is a brush. Let me grab a brush. I'm just going to keep the camera rolling. So yeah, I have some brushes that I can use. And apparently, I'm not used to this case yet. Okay, here we go. So you are going to need a brush. And the good thing about this is that since you're not doing this from the beginning, you don't need multiple brushes. Like if you're using multiple color powders, and these are powders, this is not polish. Okay, so I'm going to brush this off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I remove them if I think that they're becoming loose, or like if it's grown out, you can see that. And then this one as well, or if you can't see it. From where I'm sitting, it is time. One of these is going to pop off again. Okay, so also you're going to need paper towels. I did forget that. So I just kind of jumped right into this video. But I keep my paper towels right near me. And you'll see why you need the paper towel in a second. I have, let me wipe this off, no lint wipes, but they're very small, as you guys know. So yeah, side note, just keep some paper towels handy. Okay, so we're going to do this one. I'm going to try and get this off and put this back on with the milk bottle still on. So what I do is I just wet it with the alcohol and I go around the edges. And let me go on the other side here. And like I said, at this point, I don't think it's melting the glue, the solid nail glue. I think it's making it loose. This is not going to feel good when I take this off. I can tell that right now. It really could just be the weight of the milk bottle, so I might regret doing this. This one might not, it might not be time for this one. But then what I do after that is if I think that it's coming off, I just kind of play around with it. Like I can see the glue underneath here. I know you're not supposed to let the glue go too much past your finger. But sometimes when you get ready to wipe it away, it's already starting to go solid, especially if you already did flash cure. And so you almost don't have a choice if you don't wipe it away right away before you even do a flash cure. Sometimes you just forget, honestly, at least I know for me. So like I said, this one just might feel heavy because of the milk bottle, so it might not even be coming off, but I'm committed now. It's too late, so I'm going to have to go ahead and pry it off. And then now you at least get to see what happens if it's not time yet. Okay, so some of the glue is here. And I don't keep my nails, I cut them every time I do a full set. I know some people like to keep their nails, but I don't like to do that. So I'm seeing the glue here. I'm really hoping that's not part of my nail tool as well. I don't think it is, because I don't really see a lot of new growth. Usually by now I would see a lot of new growth. But like I said in my last video, all my nails except for my left thumbnail are damaged. So I'm pretty sure it's something I'm doing. I was thinking maybe it's the products I'm using, like maybe my fingers aren't used to, like my nails aren't used to it. And as you can see, this one was not loose, so it's fighting me. I really thought that it was. I'm gonna kind of push it here. Normally, you wouldn't have to actually force this off. It would already be loose. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie to you, that does hurt. And when it starts to hurt, that's when I start dipping it into more of the alcohol. And I'm very, very carefully pushing. And then see, it came off and the glue was actually stuck on my nail still. And that's not good because I thought that I was taking off some of the glue at one point in time. And I had my drill. I was using a sanding bit and I was actually drilling off part of the top layer of my nail. So I know how I ruined this one. And as you can see, sometimes the glue is going to come off stuck in the nail, but there's none really there. It's on my natural nail. And so now this is the part where I'm trying to be careful because, like I said, because it wasn't the color of my nail, I did not know that that was actually my nail. Okay, so hopefully when I peel this stuff off, it's not going to actually take my natural nail off with it. It's hard to pull when it's wet, so now you can see I'm just trying to get it off without wetting it anymore. Tweezers are a really good idea, and usually I forget them. Okay, so I'm going to use the alcohol, and then I do need to get some tweezers. And the ones that you use for like rhinestones and charms, that's not going to work. Okay, so let me go get that really quick. Okay, so these tweezers are like my go-to for when I'm at the gas station and I can't get the credit card out of that little slot thing because the nails are too long. And you can see it's fighting me. So when it decides it wants to give me a hard time, I just start wetting it. At that point, I've noticed like I don't have a choice. And usually, like I said, usually what happens is that the glue is stuck on the nail and not your natural nail. So every now and then you come across this problem. And I'm not going to lie to you, like the combined thing of the alcohol and the glue, it does stink. Okay, so your nose might burn. And I really don't want to file this because I'm trying to let my nail grow out. So when I prep this nail, I might have to use my hand file. And of course, I don't have that there either. The other one that I like to use, this is one of my favorites. I always show you guys this one from Sally Beauty, but the I try to keep the young nails in this. I don't know why that's dirty, maybe because it's in a new case, but it shouldn't look like that. I do have another piece of paper towel here. I don't know if I should wipe that off. Let me see real quick. I've been putting the top back on my alcohol because I've been accidentally knocking it over. And literally, as you can see, I usually have a lot of stuff laying there and it got everywhere. So yeah, but usually this file is super clean. So I'm not even sure what that stuff was that's on there. But woo, you know what? It's that alcohol that is strong. My nose is not happy with me right now, let me tell you. Okay, so let's see if I can go ahead and get the rest of this off. I do not want to have to drill that. So I guess this is kind of what happens when it's not as loose as you thought it was. So I'm just putting that there. And I don't know if 91% alcohol, if it actually dehydrates your nail. I hope not. That might be the problem because I was using Swipe. And I was using the protein bond from Young Nails, but a representative at Young Nails told me not to mix products, so I stopped using those. And I really like how my nails wore afterwards. Okay, so I got that off. My hands are shaking. Ooh, and my nose, woo, that's strong. That is some of that nail glue. Okay, so I'm happy about this one because I don't even really have to worry. But now I have to make sure that I put them back on the right fingers, right? So this is the ring finger. And I'm going to take this and just go ahead and please excuse my sniffling. I was not expecting that. And I'm just trying to get kind of the rest of the remaining glue that's on there off, which it probably would have been easier with alcohol and my tweezers. And I think I'm going to actually buy another set of tweezers that is only for my nails. Because often at times I forget to, I don't even know if you can put this in barbicide, but if you can, I forget to do it. Okay, so if you can't see that, that's not really wanting to come off. Okay. Go ahead and wipe that off. And then, and see, my nail is in a horrible condition and it's cracked there and everything. I'm really hoping that what I'm seeing is just like the remainder of the glue and that it's not getting infected. That's not looking too good. I'm not liking that. I don't know. Some people have complained about the Macart solid nail glue, and then I wasn't using primer on my nails, so I don't know, you guys. I might have to switch back to Swipe and the bond. I don't know what protein bond does if I were to have the full coverage nails. I haven't done that, but maybe my nails are not used to this product. Maybe I'm allergic to some of the stuff, but I'm going to take care of this nose issue really quick and then come back. Okay, so Yes, we are rolling. All right, I'm back. I ended up having to take a full restroom break. Okay, so I've decided I'm not going to take all the ones off that I plan on taking off on the video. I'm just going to only do maybe these two and maybe one more. I'm thinking my thumbnail, I can feel it, the edge there. And so I know it's going to come loose. It does feel pretty secure. So I'm kind of iffy about messing with it because you saw what happens if it's not really ready. So let me go ahead and take a quick look at this really quick to make sure that I'm actually okay with how it looks. And I'm not, so I'm going to take the file side of this no color residue nail file. And sorry about that, I'm losing my voice on top of that. And I'm going to just kind of file down on the sides here. The good thing is that not polished, gel top coat is kind of thick. So when you're filing on it, kind of takes a minute before you start really breaking away at the layer. And then like I told you guys in my last video, I'm gonna have a little bit of difficulty, so just bear with me because as you can see, most of my nails are still on. So these aren't as long as I have them. Sometimes I have them longer, sometimes I have them shorter. I'm just gonna turn this over to the other side. This is the 180 side. And just get rid of the little problem I caused when I did that with the file side. I think the 100 grit was a little bit too much. Okay, so let me just dust that off there. And for the most part, that nail is ready to go. And as you can see, the milk bottle is still on there. Okay, so now I'm gonna prep my nail. And I was thinking about this middle one, the pinky I was really thinking about, honestly, but maybe I'll just do that after I stop recording. And then this one's looking a hot mess. I don't like this one. This is the one I forced off and it didn't need to come off. So now that my nail's growing out, now it's looking worse than what it did when I should just have left it. But yeah, okay. So first, as you guys can see, like I want to say that's probably like nail glue or something, residue left on. I'm going to try and be super, super careful. Let me take my file, because usually they set like a 180, right? Let me just see what happens if I just do this by hand. We might not even have to bring my drill into this. And then plus with my nail being cracked like that and the top layers being missing, like I really thought that was product and it wasn't. By the time I realized it wasn't, I was just like, oh my gosh, I think that's my nail. Okay, so let me go ahead and dust that away and see. No, I'm gonna have to use my e-file, but what I'm gonna do is I'm going to I just realized the closer I put that, the more it's right there, like I said, in you guys' face. So I'm gonna try and actually keep that sitting where it's sitting. So this is a fine grit sanding band on here, and then as you guys know, my drill is touch, so I always want to set that on top of that. I'm gonna hold this on here. And also, if you get this drill, keep rotating until it will actually go in. Don't force this in. Okay, this is kind of difficult to push in when it's turned the correct way, so you really don't want to try and force it when it won't go in there. But it has, like I said, a switch on the back, and then as you can see, it's touch, so it's really touchy on top of that. So like I said, I'm probably going in the wrong direction for this hand. Let me move this alcohol out of the way, and I'm gonna do what I think I learned was called feathering. And I'm just gonna very, very lightly, especially since my nails are so damaged, try and let's see if I'm on 1. And if you don't know with the drill, 1 is not 1, it's 1,000. So when you buy your drill, it goes by RPMs, and they just put like the first number or the first 2 digits, but you're supposed to add 3 zeros to the back of that. So I'm on 1,000 RPMs, not 1. And then this part I learned that when you're doing it, you just want to take the shine off your nail, like you're not really trying to get too aggressive. And then I also learned from a video, it said you never want to use like the safety bit or any of those on your natural nail. And I had been doing that before, so that might have been part of the problem as to why my hands are shaking a lot. As to why how my nails got like this in the first place. So I don't know what really happened, but I'm gonna very lightly go over this because I do need this to be smooth. I might have to take a hand file to that, so I was gonna try and stay away from the upper part, closer to the tip of my nail. And see, it's chipping away. And so honestly, at this point, I don't know if that's leftover glue or if that's that top layer of my nail. So I'm gonna very, very lightly. I don't want to irritate it too much. I'm really hoping that this is just solid nail glue that I didn't really get off. And then I need to do a Google search, like I said, and find out if alcohol dehydrates your nail, because their bond from not polished is the dehydrator. So maybe it's too much. I thought the alcohol was just disinfecting it, but it might be doing both. So I need to find that out. But I mean, you have to, whatever little dust or particles that you're creating from doing this, you have to get it off your nail. And I'm being really, really careful because even though it's only on 1,000 RPMs with this sanding bit, even though it's a fine sanding bit, if you catch the wrong part of your finger, it does hurt. Especially since it's cylinder shaped and it's not, you know, like a safety bit that's rounded on the edge. And then I also learned that you're supposed to like take your drill bits and get a file that you don't use, and you're supposed to take it. I won't do it with this one, but you're supposed to take it, make sure you have a good grip, and then just like the top edge kind of go like that, because what you're trying to do is trying to take away the sharpness. So I don't know if there's a name for that, but I did learn that as well. So if you're like me, if you're finding that some of your drill bits was actually cutting you, like you just barely even put it onto your drill, then that's part of the problem. And so I think with the sanding bits and with any drill bits that you haven't, of course I don't have any of my drill bits to show you guys. I think I learned that I was supposed to be doing that, and I can't remember what that's called, so I won't even try and give it a name. Okay, so I've probably done all I should be doing to this finger, especially since I need it to grow out. Honestly, I probably shouldn't even be putting anything back on these nails, but then my thumbnail will be the only nail that doesn't have anything on it. And I found if I'm really, really careful at 1,000 RPMs, if I have a little bit of like glue on my finger, I can actually go around it and get the glue off. And I know you guys are probably going to say, no, don't do that. Like, that's dangerous to do that. But like I said, the feathering part of this, I'm really starting to kind of get the hang of it a little bit. I know it's supposed to be smooth across. Like I said, you guys know part of it is either broken or that's product that has not come off. Okay, so I think that's enough. I don't want to irritate it too much. So that's supposed to pause like that. I'm going to dust that off. And then if you don't want to have to worry about this spinning when you pick it back up, you can just pause it from the pause button. I don't know if you guys can see that. So yeah, the white that I'm seeing, I don't know what that is. And I really, really don't want, because you hear like a cracking noise, and I'm thinking, no, that's your top layer of your nail. So I told myself not to do too much. It's going to take a minute for it to grow. I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys. Right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this one. That way I can put this away. And I usually go in the forward motion. See how it paused? Make sure the F is there on my right hand. So I think I'm actually doing that backwards. So this will probably be one of the first videos that you guys will see me using my non-dominant hand. So on my next video, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going, and I probably should be using my dust collector for this, but on my next video, I think I'm going to do what I call my unicorn nails. And even though it's easier, I'm going to actually go ahead and do that video with my left hand. And I know I'm kind of going the wrong way, and yes, I just cut myself, so I wouldn't suggest doing that, but I think I'm going to have to start pulling out that armrest that I have. The legs fold, so maybe I'll keep it folded, but I don't know. That's going to be kind of, will be the word, cumbersome or kind of bulky, I guess, if it's in my video, so I have to decide. Because you guys can see, like, for some reason today my hand is super shaky. And then I do have a light. It has a magnifying glass on it. And in my first videos, I know you guys were seeing that thing, it was huge. And I was sitting there thinking, I want my eyes to get good enough to where I don't need it. I mean, with the skylight and all the lights I have on here in the kitchen, I shouldn't need it. But I mean, you do whatever you can to help yourself. So I do have another one. I bought an Ace Yes lamp. It's an RGB lamp, and it's really cool. I did a video on it if you guys want to go watch it. And also, if you like this video, like and subscribe. I usually don't say like and subscribe because I figure if people want to subscribe, they will. If they don't want to, they won't. But I'm doing a test, and I always forget to do it. I guess the new thing is if you say that, then that subscribe button is supposed to light up on the video. I don't think if you're watching a video on your phone, it'll do it, but if you're on your computer or your laptop, then it's supposed to light up when the person says it. So if I say it, usually, obviously no pressure. If you want to do that, then fine. If you don't, then that's fine as well. But every now and then you'll hear me say it, and it'll be just to test and see if it lights up. So if it does light up, then let me know. And then I think they advise you like to only say it 3 times during the video. Like they said, you don't want to get excessive with it. And I believe it only works like after, I think you have to wait a certain amount of time. I don't think it's 3 seconds. I think it's 3 minutes before it'll work if you say it again. So I remember 3 being involved in there. Okay, so I'm just trying to get that part to smooth out. And this one is growing, so I think I just need to be patient. And I do have that bit where you go by your cuticles. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh no, if you're using a full cover nail, you're not flooding your cuticles. I'm not going to say that. Especially if you're doing your nails, like gluing them on, the full cover nails, and then doing the nails on there. Sometimes I use a nail sand. And I have a new one that I want to try, so I haven't tried it yet. Okay, so like I said, I do not want to irritate my nails so much. I probably did a little bit too much, but you can see it is growing, but it is looking like, oh my gosh. You guys will probably tell me, no, go see a doctor about that. So let me get this file, and I'm just going to really lightly go over this because I can see it, that it's not as even as I want it to be. And hopefully they will grow out pretty soon. Okay, I'm just gonna do the top here. I'm using the 180 side. And then after this, we're gonna go ahead and put the 2 back on. And like I said, if you're screaming like, no, wait, take them all off and let them grow out and then start again. And then if it does it again, then it's a reaction to one of the products, right? But on the other hand, I don't know if you've ever damaged your nail this much, or if something you've been using you couldn't figure out has damaged your nail this much to where you're like, what in the world is going on? Like, oh my gosh, that's not a product, that's my nail. Let me stop because now I've taken most of it off, or the top layer. Then if you don't have anything on top of it, then it's not protected either, right? So you're kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place with a situation like this. And then also, I don't think that it's sticking as well as it would have if it weren't for that being like that. And this just recently just happened within like the past 2 weeks to a month. So I'm going to take my drill and turn it off. Well, actually, I'm going to turn it down to 0. And then turn it off there. And I'll worry about cleaning that in a second. And I've been wondering, I started using barbicide, and I'm wondering if I'm having a reaction to that, because the one thing that I learned that you don't want to forget is that, so anything that you can wash with soap and water, it has to say, I have this upside down, disinfectable on it, or you don't want to wash it with soap and water. And then, well, actually, no, I think you can wash it. I'm saying that backwards. You can wash it with soap and water and put it in barbicide if it says disinfectable. Okay, so I guess not all your files you can put in there. I don't know, maybe brushes are not supposed to go in barbicide. And drill bits, I thought the sanding bits could, and maybe they're not. So I'm going to take this towel here. And no, there's too many particles in here. I was going to dip that in there in the alcohol, but So this is the part where I would be using the swipe. And if I go back to using it, you guys will just see it on the video, because I actually bought like a refill. And then when I stopped using it, because I thought, if they're telling me not to use the protein bond with my not polished products, then maybe I shouldn't be using the swipe either, because their swipe is a disinfectant, and it's also what they call their dehydrator. So yeah, I'm just patting that off. Hopefully I didn't put too much. I'm going to let that dry for a second. I think this one's dry already. The first step is number 1, the bond, which is not polished dehydrator. I don't know if you guys can see that. Like I said before, I'm not used to recording at this angle. And then yeah, this one I might have to do it. Might have to do this one, and I'll let you guys know in the next video. I'll give you guys an update. How many did I take off this one? It might be time, because this one's been on for 2 weeks and it hasn't done anything. So it might be time to actually take this off and put this back on. But yeah, so on goes the bond first. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I am kind of thinking I shouldn't put it on the part where it's damaged at, because that might be the problem. And if you heard my voice change, this stuff is strong too. It's just not as strong as their base, their step 2 base. So keep in mind, with not polished, they have 2. They have this number 2 that is for dip powder, and they have super base that is for your gel polish, if you want to put that base coat on before you do the gel polish. And super base does have to be cured, but step 2 base does not. It air dries. So I've been testing what other people have been testing, which is still putting my hands in the lamp to see if it helps dry it. And then I saw in other videos it said you want to put very little primer, so I'm trying not to put that much, especially on the part where there's not as many layers of my nail left. And like I said, that could all be product and just be on there. So I'm gonna let this dry for a couple of seconds, and then I'm trying to decide which one to put on first. And this has to be plugged up. I know I keep saying this in every video, but I want to make sure you guys know it's censored, and the light gradually gets hotter. It doesn't just, toss out this beam of LED light. It just gradually builds its way up. And then also the solid nail glue, I don't know if it matters which one you use, but it is going to heat up. I think it said because it's curing the solid nail glue. And just be careful even when you're doing a flash cure. So I'm going to use this for a flash cure. And I think if you leave your finger on here, it's either 30 seconds or a minute. I keep saying a minute, but for some reason I'm feeling it's 30 seconds. And then on here, this is for acrylic and UV gels. And it says it's acid free primer. So I don't think that I'm supposed to like put this under light to dry it. So I'm just kind of watching it, because I believe it does actually have to dry. This one's still wet. And I don't know. I don't know if I want to, that's probably going to burn some. I don't even know if I was supposed to do that. So would I suggest doing what you see me doing now? No, just in case they might tell you no, leave it wet. Okay, so I do advise for you guys to watch some videos of some people that are actual nail techs, because I'm a beginner. And this, I do know with the step 2 base, when you put it on there, that you're supposed to, I think, let it dry in the lamp for 30 seconds. And then I know what you're thinking, and I just realized what I did. I don't want to say I always forget that part. If I'm doing a full set, I don't forget. But if I'm putting these back on, I forget to push my cuticles back, which I think is still necessary, even though these are full cover nails. So I do have, I'm trying to think where I have my cuticle pushers. I can't talk today. I have the one with the rubber tips. Okay, let me see, because my train case is actually pretty close to me. And I think it's under my brushes. Okay, so I got these off of Amazon. And before, I know what you're thinking. No, you're supposed to push back your cuticles and then do a little bit more of the sanding, I think. And then after that, you're supposed to clean away the stuff off with the alcohol. So I know I kind of did this backwards. I'm going to take that and put that, I'll just put it behind me so it won't be in the way. So yeah, this part I will put a big red X on my own video, because this was supposed to be done way before the primer part. I don't even think I'm pushing hard enough, but I think because for most of them, once a week, they end up coming off and I have to put them back on. My cuticle area is tender, and then I did kind of hit it a little bit with that sanding band. Okay, so that is a big red X. Okay, I would not suggest doing that. So I did paint base on that, and you can tell it's because it's shiny. And I'm still gonna do the 30 seconds in the lamp. So let me get my not polished lamp ready after this. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this is burning. Okay, so I'm gonna take the brush side of this, and this might not be a good idea, but I'm gonna go just at the very top here. I got just a little bit on here. And I'm gonna try and brush it away from my nail, because as you saw, the alcohol loosens it. So that might not be a good idea, but when it goes in this lamp, I don't see it not drying. And then I did learn, like I said before, if it gets really hot, not polished lamps always start off at 30 seconds. So if your hand gets super hot, they say take it out, turn it upside down, and then put your hand back in. So let me go ahead and do the 30-second drying. And some of you might say, no, my lamp, I have an LED lamp too, or I have a hybrid where, well, I call it a hybrid because that's what I was told it was called, but it has UV/LED, and then UV, I try and stay away from that because I heard that that was like the worst type of lamp you could have. And so I know LED still has a little bit of UV in it, but I don't think it has, they said, as much as a hybrid lamp, which is UV/LED. So that's why I went with the not polished lamp. Let's do this other hand for the 30 seconds. But yeah. So I'm thinking that it might help and it might not. It all depends. Some of you might say, hey, no, you know what, you can use a fan. Just turn it away from your stuff because obviously there's all these little particles down here. And this 30 seconds is taking a little bit longer than I expected. There we go. Okay, so let me go ahead and close this back up. And fair warning, when you're using this for the dip method, sometimes it's going to be just a big blast of, where's my, oh, it's right here in front of me. A big blast of chemical smell. My nose burns, my eyes burn, they water. And then sometimes it doesn't bother me. And I'm talking about per layer, because if you've ever done a dip method with a spoon and not dipped your finger into your powder, then you know that depending on the color, you might have to put more than a layer or two. And I don't know why this thing is acting like it's not open, because it is. Very, very sticky stuff. And it stinks, so I don't like to get it on my fingers if I can help it. I know in some videos you'll see people actually take this and roll it up like they're playing with Play-Doh or something like that. But that smell takes a long time to come off of your hands. And I can smell it already. My gosh. Okay, so I'm going to take this nail and I'm going to put some on here. Oh, I didn't do the etching. I said I was going to etch them this time. Okay, let me go ahead and get this back on here. I'm not going to screw that back on. It'll be just hard to get off. And I did turn my drill all the way off, right? And I just used the same one. And then this is going to be kind of awkward. I'm going to set this way over here. This is not all I do, like I said, as you know, to clean it. But I remember I turned it all the way off. But this does help for me to start the process of the cleaning. So I just take it, and yes, dust is going to fly. So I'm going to kind of lean back here. I also wipe this with alcohol too. I don't just, if this can be put in barbicide, I'm just tossing there. And that might be it too. The drill bits, it might be like, no, don't do that. I could be reacting to the barbicide, like I said. So I have no clue what's happening with those nails. But when they grow out, if it does it again, I'm going to have to switch up something. So I just try to make sure I have a good grip. And then I don't know if this is true, but from other videos, people that do this have stated that this is so that you don't have to put primer on this part too, along with putting it on your nail. I do remember people saying to use the least amount of primer as possible. Okay, so that's one. I'll dust that off in a second. I'll just go ahead and do this one too. Might as well while we have it turned back on. And I'm not even sure if I'm doing this right, but I'm not going to go above 1,000 RPMs. And I have to tell myself, just assume, whether you can smell it or not, that it's actually, you know what, wait a second. Turn that back on for a second. I just remember I want to brush this off really quick before I even do anything else to it. And whatever other brush I use, hopefully I'm not ruining the brush. But yeah, just to get the cleaning process started, like I said, that's not the end of that. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn it off again. And I will just set it over here. Let me get this. I'm going to need this anyway. Okay, so I know it's been more than 30 seconds. But to be quite honest with you, this part I found, this does not just take 30 seconds to put this stuff on here. And if you tried the Press It kit from Not Polished, let me know, because I'm thinking about switching to it, because I have the stuff that comes in there. Like the Bond doesn't come in the Press It kit, but the Triple X does. They give you a gloss and a matte, and then you pick a set of nails. I think you get 360 nails, and then it comes like a little light, looks like a flashlight, which I won't need because I have this Kiss one over here. I don't think that's enough. This stuff is sticky, and you're gonna find yourself fighting with it. I don't think that's enough. Sometimes you can dip your spatula in and do this and lift it up, and you'll get the amount that you want. And then sometimes it's not going to work like that. And me personally, I don't take the foil off, because at some point you need something. Oh, I said I have to dust that off. Okay, let me set that up here. And this would go a little faster if I wasn't recording and explaining everything. And like I said, some of the stuff I'm probably doing just fine, and others, once I learn whatever I'm doing wrong, then of course I'm going to tell you guys and then correct it. And then probably at that point, like, make a video about it to let you guys know, like, hey, I was doing this, but I was supposed to be doing this. So I'm in the learning process. Okay, so I'm going to take this and put it on here. I start from kind of where I think not the top of my finger would be, but part of it, and I put it down. Now, the part about having the nail already done, the part that you guys are not going to be able to see, is that if this was still a clear nail, like say you're starting from scratch, when you do this, you don't want to have air bubbles. And so the reason why I'm thinking about using the Press It kit, I clean this off just in case I have to clean off some of the excess around my finger. I was wetting this when I was doing that part, but I learned like the first time to go around my finger not to wet this again, but I need it clean so I don't have glue back on it. But yeah, with the Press It kit, I noticed when people were using the Press It, the nail glue from Not Polished with their kit, that they didn't have any bubbles. And I've noticed I have bubbles, and that might be part of the problem as well. Okay, this is the hard part. So you're supposed to take it. Hopefully you have enough light to see. And from what I've seen, and yes, it is as difficult if you already have done a hand. Okay, so this is not just me being extra careful. It's the length of my other nails. Okay, so let me see. Put it here. Ow, that hurt. Put it here. And come to think of it, oh my gosh, no. Ooh, I'm happy I caught that. That is the wrong nail. Okay, I won't put that much on that one. That's the wrong one. That's right. This goes on the other hand. This is why I do one hand at a time. Okay, so let me go ahead and just kind of wipe that off a little bit. And then, yep, wrong hand. So let me look at it and make sure. Yeah, I think that's still enough. Oh, that won't be too bad. But that's why I'm thinking about doing it. They have the long square ones, and they look long enough. I don't want to get the XLs, because then what if I have to cut them? And I guess it's better to have it longer and be able to cut it than have it too short right out the box and be upset. Okay, so you take it and you push down. At some point, you might have to flip your finger over to see where the glue is. And the reason why I reuse these is because I've already shaped the bottom of them to the curve of my nail. and there's excess there. I'm going to take that off because I learned you're supposed to take that off. That's crooked. And I'm going to actually, okay, I'm going to have to take some of it off because I'm trying to see where the bottom of my nail is. And I can see where, let me wipe that off. I might have to peel that up, which is good that I haven't done any curing yet. And this is why you want this little spatula thing to be clean. Okay, so it is harder to see. I'm thinking, you would think with the, oh, and it's on there straight too. Okay, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna hold my finger underneath here and then I'm gonna scoop this out. This might make the nail crooked, so I'm gonna actually turn it back over and see when you have the stuff on there, this is why you want this clean. So usually on this part, you're underneath the light doing a flash cure. But if you flash cure, what I found, if you flash cure and you have some of that stuff underneath there, you're gonna flash cure it right on there. And I think that causes lifting, so you don't want to do that. So this is the part where I have difficulty at because I try not to put too much glue. And then I think, oh, I don't need to clean that off. You know, that's fine. That's not a lot. And then I think they said it's going to lift if you have that like that. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to actually hold it. And what I found was if this were clear, you'd still be able to see that you have to push down more toward this part. And I'm going to flash cure it. And then even like when you're, okay, I can feel it heat up. I just do it till I feel it heat up. Even after you're supposed to be able to take your spatula and kind of get this stuff off, it's supposed to peel off almost like tape. But I have found that that's not the case all the time. And that's where that drill comes into play at. So this is where I told myself, you're going to have to get pretty good at this because if you're putting back on nails that you already pre-designed, then of course, obviously, if a drill hits this, if it's too much, it's going to take off the top coat. And of course, you're probably thinking, we'll just top coat that nail again. But I'm trying to get to the point where I don't have to do that. So I do this kind of little cleanup thing before I actually go into the lamp. And I always think, well, if it's sealed really well, then the fact that I put a little bit of alcohol there shouldn't matter. And wipe that off again. Okay, now I'm going to put it in the lamp for 60 seconds, and it is straight. And underneath it's good. And so I need to switch this to 60. I have it on 30, right? 2, 3. So I think the third button is 60. Oh. It went off. It's supposed to work when you put your hand in there. It is censored, but I don't think I had my hand in far enough. So I'm going to stand up really quick and just make sure that I push the right button. There's 4 buttons on there. Okay, yeah, I did. So it's really convenient the way they have their lamp made if you're doing someone else's nails, because you can see the timer and everything like that. But if you're doing your own nails, you just have to go off of when the light goes out. And then the lamp does have a 10-second, a 30-second, which I think those are considered flash cure, especially the 10-second. And then it also has a 60 seconds and a 90 seconds as well. Okay, so should almost be done. And this one over here is probably like, no. The fact that I have a little bit of glue sitting there and everything like that. Like I said, I'm not used to doing 2 opposite hands at the same time. And then I see it shiny. I'm not going to dip it back in alcohol. I'm just going to do this. Cuticle pusher might work. If you use tweezers, oh my gosh, be careful. I've done that. And then if you want to chant it with the drill, this is powder, not polished, so you might be able to get away with it. What am I looking for? Oh, the tweezers. So I'm going to kind of show you probably maybe the biggest no-no you've seen on my videos, but just in case, because the tweezers have like a sharp edge, all that's just product. I don't know if you guys can see that. I see some over here. And I didn't start doing this until recently, trying to like tweeze off some of it or just kind of brush it and see what happens with the tweezers. Because the last thing you want to do is end up pinching your finger, right? Because then that would be skin. You'll be thinking that it's the glue. Yeah, see? Okay, so I don't know if you can see that stuff right there, but that's why I got the tweezers. So I'm just kind of really lightly going around. Because I think that's some of the glue. Forgot that sticky right there. Let me wipe this off. This is the part that's time consuming. And I think this will be, until I figure out something better on this part to do, this will be my double check to see if there is glue there. So I think I'll probably just get another one. Maybe a different color so I won't get them mixed up. So I can clean this and put this back in my backpack. But the stuff is coming off. I could probably actually take a no-lint wipe and get around that. This is a do this at your own risk part. And I'm not really panicking about my other finger, even though I'm to that glue part, because it even takes a minute for that base to dry, to air dry, that step 2. So I just want to kind of clean it up and see, and then whatever else that is in my finger, I'll get that off later. Okay, so now here we go again. Let me take a look at this. And the unique thing about this glue is that after a while, if you leave it alone and don't do anything to it, it actually like levels itself back out in its container. Ooh, I think that's too much. Let me see. I don't think I have to, see if I can get this off. Remember when I said the foil's been helping me out? Okay, still might be too much, but I did get some of it off. And I'm just going to push down a little bit. And I've been hoping that if I want to continue to use this, if it's not this product that's damaging my nails, I can actually kind of spread that pretty even. Okay, so let's see there. Yeah, so the alcohol that you put in whatever you're using to dip this in, it takes a bit of a beating. Okay, so that's ready. Now this is the right finger. All right, how easy or how hard is this going to be to put this back on here with this big milk bottle on here? I almost cussed. I'm trying to watch my language on these videos. Okay, so I'm going to turn this. All right, here we go. Because the milk bottle is there, I'm not going to be able to see everything. I'm going to take it and set it down. And I'm going to put it, I'm assuming if it's hurting, that's my finger, not my nail. Ooh. That actually wasn't too bad, you guys. Not too bad. Now I'm going to do the check underneath here. I don't even see it. It's barely at the tip. Okay, so that's good. Now I'm going to hold it like I said. What I found is I need more pressure down here towards my finger. And it's crooked. I almost flash cured that. Can we look and make sure it's still good underneath? And I do have some excess here. Like I said, this is the part that gives me the problem. And then I have to remember that I did nick myself a little bit with that drill bit. Now that I think about it, I told you guys, I said, ouch, I had cut myself. So now I know that's not the product branding. That's the fact that I cut myself a little bit. Okay. Like I said, I'm pushing down more pressure down this way. And by now, I would have actually have had almost all my nails on if I was doing a full set. And if I were doing, I would have to say like one head at a time, I probably would have been on the powder part. Okay, so this one I might put in my lamp for more than 60 seconds. And I'm going to kind of turn it just a little bit. I am actually happy that the milk bottle's on there because it went crooked. A lot easier to see, obviously, when there's nothing there or a smaller charm. And I was not about to pop this milk bottle off and put it back on there. This McCart rhinestone glue is holding pretty well. It's the one that comes in this little jar like this. I have the tube too, but I didn't need the tube for this. All right, and the lamp, 60 seconds. Like I said, we're gonna do it twice. Okay, so that's typically how it goes, like what you're supposed to do. And then if you have a lighter color, obviously it would be easier to see. And you may say, you know what, like me, I don't want this set back on here, but I don't have time to create another one. And so you kind of find yourself going through the process and honestly just doing the same thing you would do when you first put them on. And then depending on what issues you run into along the way, that can determine about how long it's going to take for you to re-put the nails back on. But if you really like them, if they're really cute, if when they came off they didn't get damaged, they didn't crack, they didn't break in half, if they're full cover nails or whatever, then you're probably like me, you'll probably sit down and actually take the time to put them back on. And like I said, I do like them, but they are just a little plain. Okay, let's see. Yeah, we'll do it one more time. But yeah, so that's pretty much the process. It can go faster, it can go slower, it all depends. Don't forget to push back your cuticles. Oops, right? So I think after I did the sanding band, then I was supposed to kind of push back my cuticles and do the sanding band, I think a little bit more, or use that that other drill bit that has like a little ball. It reminds me of the tip of a pen, of a writing pen. That usually is for like the cuticle area. Then there's one that's shaped like a really skinny cone. I think that's a cuticle drill bit. So you'll see it in your set. Be careful, because it might not be, it might be too much of a grit. It might have like a too much of coarseness, I guess. So my suggestion, which is what I'm still learning, is to learn what your drill bits are for. And I think it would be nice if they would have a paper to tell you this is medium, this is fine, this is coarse. They are color coded. Some of them are. And I think they're trying to just have it mainly color coded across the board with the drill bits. Like, oh, red, and don't quote me on this, I'm just giving an example. Red would be the fine grit drill bits, and then, you know, purple might be coarse, and then blue, which I don't know why they would do blue if they have purple, because it's too close of a color together. That might be, you know, something else. And then they have extra fine, and then they have double fine on the drill bits too, and I think that might be like a powder blue. So yeah, so you can see it's back on there. And while I'm talking to you guys, I'm just going to kind of play around with it and see. Sometimes it kind of peels, and it's kind of cool. You can almost like pull it off, and it comes out around your finger. And sometimes you do this and you're like, uh-oh, I'm going to have to fight it for a second. It's not wanting to peel. And then just make sure that you can kind of see what you're doing. And then I would have to say, if all else fails, then yeah, you might have to bring some alcohol into it to loosen it up. So when you're trying to peel it, it actually peels. But right now, as you saw, my rule of thumb first is don't wet it the first time, just to see what comes up. You probably can't see that, but there is some on there. So it's left up to you, but it gets harder to see once you wet it too, because then it's not really that shiny anymore. And like I said, if this were a full set and I was starting from scratch and there was nothing on these nails, I would take either my fine grit sanding band, the one you guys saw me use in this video, or maybe even my safety bed. I haven't used that in a minute, and just go around, because I've actually used that on my finger to take off some product before, and it didn't hurt. But I was only at like 1,000 RPMs or 2,000. I wasn't at more than that. So when you're first starting off and doing that full set, it is crucial to get off what you can get off before you even go into, am I going to paint them? Am I going to put powder on them? Am I going to do the dip method? Am I going to use monomer and powder? Like, how am I going to put that stuff on there? So yeah, the cleaning up around the cuticle part is important, on your finger. And then if you're using alcohol to do any part of that, it might burn. Just remember, you're using alcohol, especially 91% is pretty strong. I don't even know if they make 100%, but yeah, I'm just kind of going around now just to see. And my thought process is, if it's sealed, I won't have to worry about it making it lift. So yeah. So just doing a little bit of cleanup there. A work in progress. I'm still learning. But you guys, that is it. I'm going to actually have to sit here and see if I need to re-put this one back on here. I'm not liking how that's looking. It's not really feeling loose. So maybe I should learn from the first time I made the mistake and leave it alone, because I did have to put that one back on last week. And like I said, it has been almost maybe a week. So I'm also looking underneath here, and I'm not liking that glue that I'm seeing underneath there. I'm not quite so sure how that got so bulky, because you guys saw I don't put a lot. And so that might be why that looks like that. It might not even be loose. I might just be seeing, since it's growing out, like the glue that was underneath it. And then my pinky's kind of iffy. I don't know. I don't really want to wait till it pops off. But then again, maybe I should, because I don't want the glue to get stuck to my natural nail. I would rather that it comes off with the fake nail when it comes off. So yeah, for now, I'm going to leave it. And then obviously if I have to sit back down and do this again, then I'll do it again. I'm going to turn off my lamp over here. Actually, I need to check and see the bars really quick. Oh, it's on 1 bar. Okay, so it's time to charge this up. I might actually be doing an exchange from some of the stuff I was telling them, they think that my lamp is not curing my top coats all the way. So yeah, you guys might see a different lamp. You won't know it because it's supposed to be red if they found a red one to replace this one. I might have to send this one back so they can take a look at it. But you guys, I hope that that helped. If there's any other things that you do that are easier, let me know. If you don't use Makart solid nail tips glue, maybe you saw my nails and was like, I could tell you right now that most likely it's this product and to use something else. You might tell me, even though these nails, I believe they're plastic, they're not gel. I know for a fact they're not gel. I just don't know if they're plastic or if there's even acrylic fake full cover nails. But you guys might tell me, just go get the not polished press it kit, use the gel nails, use the stuff in there. I think it's 3 steps to put it on, and they'll be about the same length. I'll be able to cut them if I need to. And so some of you might say, oh, I love the press it kit. You know, it takes less time. You know, you don't have to do the base. Like, you might be able to stop at the triple X bond part. Hopefully it comes with instructions if I decide to do it with the nails, because I don't need the kit. So yeah, I might be able to stop using this and stop using this possibly, but I don't know if press it, the nail glue from Not Polished, will work with nails that are plastic or acrylic or whatever these are made of. I think they're plastic. So that's what I've been curious about. Now, of course, everything else I've been using, especially this and this, are gel, I guess, so to speak, in a sense of like what part of their ingredients are, kind of. So maybe it will. But if I switch up, I'll let you guys know in the next video. You guys take care, stay safe. And if you're on your nail journey, tell me, how are you doing? Have you, like I said last time, have you stopped? Have you said, I'm going back to the shop? I don't have the time for this. I don't have the patience. Lorraine, girl, you might be able to do it, but I can't. I tried, and I want them professionally done. And I just kind of went from there. I just went ahead and added it back into my budget. And credit cards, I'm like, yes, they help, but then again, you got to be careful with them, right? So yeah, I'm not to the point to where I'm going to go back to the shop just yet. I have way too many things, way too many powders and polish. And then also, okay, so I have the box that I do not know how to say her name. I honestly don't. I don't know if you pronounce the H or not. I think I heard her say the H. Another person I was talking to the other day that worked at Not Polished did not pronounce the H. So I don't know if it's Sal or if it's Tao, but her birthday box, the X box, I do have it. So I might do a swatch video with that. And I have a different idea for that swatch video. Okay, so it might be like a partial swatch type video. And if I do that, then you guys will see what I mean. And if not, then the next time you'll see like the colors, if you've seen other videos with the box, will be, or if you've bought it and you haven't used it yet, will probably be a video with me doing it. So I have to figure out what do I want to use those colors for. But it is a very, very pretty box. And I have to figure out, because I have to prep my swatches as well. As you know, I mark them and stuff like that. I do the dip method, so I mark the spoons and stuff like that. But I'll just tell you really quick, what I'm thinking about doing is putting all the layers of powder and then putting the polish on there, because it does come with some gel polishes. Oh, it does not come with the regular polish. Okay, just to give you a heads up. You're going to see the pictures that they use for, it's going to actually say it has duos, but it doesn't. They just use existing pictures so you can see the color of the gel polish. And then at the bottom of the description, it's going to say duo, and it's not the duos. It's just a gel of those colors of the pores of the milky white. And the other one I think is Pleasure P. I don't know if they're going to start just calling it Pleasure because the P is missing on there. It just says Pleasure. But yeah, so keep that in mind. That first picture that you see on that birthday box on the Not Polished website, that is what you get. Okay, I know what you're going to see in the pictures for the polishes and what it's going to say at the bottom, but I don't know if they're going to update that or if they're going to leave it like that. Okay, so yeah, what I plan on doing is getting it all the way to all the layers on the swatches and then putting the top coat, doing maybe a gloss set and a matte set. That way you guys can actually see, because I have people, my husband even keeps saying, oh yeah, you know, that's, you know, a polish. Okay, so you do this and you do that and you put the polish. I'm like, no, this is powder. And then he'll explain to somebody, so yeah, so he'll go through a couple steps and say, yeah, and then the polish. And I'm like, I know that looks like polish, but that's not, that's powder. And so Once you top coat it, that's where you, if you use a dip method, especially with a spoon, that's where you really get to see the color of the powder, and it'll look like how it looks when you use the monomer and stuff like that. When you're making a bead, you kind of get to see, oh, what it would look like, but it just takes longer because you do have to put your coats on there. So don't panic. If you're thinking, oh, that looks kind of matte, oh, that looks kind of dull, oh, that color doesn't pop as much as I thought, it's because you haven't put a top coat. Now, I don't know what's going to look like matte, but if you're going to put a shiny top coat, then you're like, oh, okay, that's what the color looks like. Because with the powder, honestly, you really can't tell until you either use monomer and then put it and spread it on the nail to see it. And then the dip method, like I said, with the spoon, you don't know until you actually top coat them. So yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. Unicorn nails might be next. And what else am I going to do? If I have to fix any of these, I'll give you the update in the next nail video. But you guys stay safe. I'm going to also get back to attacking this house. I was going to walk on the treadmill. That's why I'm dressed like this. But I don't have time. I honestly don't have time unless I do a load of laundry, like start that off, go out there and walk, and then come back in because I need to vacuum and all the other stuff. But you guys stay safe. As always, thank you for watching. Like I said, if you like the video, like and subscribe. And, if not, it's your choice. But let me know, at least, did the subscribe button light up? Because I did take way longer than 3 minutes to say that again. So remember, I do that just as a test, just to see. And then also, I think you need a certain amount of views. I think. I could be wrong. So sometimes I'll go and I'll look at my own video, just a part of it, and I'll remember kind of like where I set that at, especially if I set it at the end of the video or the beginning. That way I can look and see on my computer or my laptop if it lights up as well. So you can tell me how many times it light up for you if you watch the whole video, and I'll tell you guys how many times I saw it light up on my end. But that's it, you guys. Bye.